My bratty daughter is refusing to work. She says that she doesn't have to. She can use my credit card, go out and party, go to nightclubs, and do all sorts of crazy stuff. So you know what I told her? I told her she's not my real daughter. She's actually adopted. Being a parent is really tough. And on top of that, when you're single and a parent, I really want to send my appreciation out here for all those parents who have single-handedly raised their kids. Because I'm 48, female, I'm a single mother of my bratty daughter Amy, and I'm currently tired of it, and I feel like I'm on the verge of giving up entirely. I could not think of anything. My head was so messed up right now. So I came to you guys just to vent my frustration. I know that I can trust this platform more than people in my own family. Amy has been absolutely on my nerves quite recently. I started feeling like I suddenly just did not know my daughter enough to be the person that she's turned into presently. Even after giving all my time and effort, let alone appreciating it, I felt like it was not enough. I really missed those days when Amy, during her early childhood, was the brightest student and excellent in every single field. Along with that, she was quite well-mannered, and I was proud to be called her mom. Well, at that time, my life was like the perfect picture of a loving husband with a daughter, and until Amy approached her early teenage years, it seemed like things started to fall apart. In terms of family, at least, and the reflection of that started to get visible through Amy's behavior. My husband Bart was caught cheating on me 10 years ago. The shock and embarrassment was quite severe. I would have never let my relationship with Bart drag on so long if his mother had not been hiding his flings from the entire family, especially from me. My friends have always been suspicious of his behavior and tried to warn me most of the time, but it was his mother covering up for him that it took me so much time to discover the truth. I stayed quiet because of a lack of evidence and the manipulation of being called a suspicious wife. The separation was definitely not smooth. Amy was dragged to the courtroom, inquired about authorities, and teased and bullied around by her friends because of her father's ill reputation. And the timing, it could not be any worse. It all took place during the adolescent years of Amy, and that was the age which is very tender, when things have a severe impact on your child's mind. And on top of that, it all happened when Amy had her finals. So, she flunked with her grades pretty badly, often turned introverted, and started having frequent fights with her classmates. I, too, have been heartbroken and lonely by the loss of a partner in life to whom I've been so emotionally attached. Before I had to subside my feelings as a single parent, I did not even have the privilege to cry over my marriage because I've been busy struggling to make the ends meet by juggling multiple jobs. Bart's career was just negligible, and he could hardly manage to send alimony or any sort of financial assistance. I was solely responsible for bringing the food to the table, paying the tuition fee for her, and all the other amenities so that Amy did not feel like she was lacking. It was also because I could sense that somewhere she still feels the lack of her father figure whenever she sees her friends and others hanging around with both their parents, and I don't know, I just kind of felt helpless. How could I even bring her father back, or the father figure that she knew, into her life? I have no control over such things, and there I failed as a parent to bother about my child's mental and emotional state, and to work on parent-child bonding because all I could manage was to be the provider. But later, when things turned out better in the terms of finances, I was somehow able to give Amy some time. I've tried several activities to make things right with Amy, by getting her enrolled in counseling and hobby classes, but none of them had a very long-lasting impact that could even compensate for all the unpleasant experiences that she's actually gone through. Or maybe I was too late to make things right with Amy. Well, by the time she approached her teenage years, she had already grown distant from me, stopping me from sharing her opinions or just brushing me away in the name of privacy. It made me feel like an intruder in her life. Anyways, I did not lose my hope, and neither turned pushy with her because she had been doing quite well in her studies. And that was the only thing that made me feel like things were going right for once. Because, that was the only indirect indication that her mental and emotional condition was fine. if not great, which kept me somewhat optimistic towards her. At least I didn't have to worry. She wasn't spoiling her life or her future, but now the reason I've turned up here is that my last ounce of hope, with Amy being shattered as well, and looking at her makes me feel anxious that she's just digging her own grave by spoiling her life. As soon as she got admission to college, though she was distant, I was still proud of her. That was the only thing that made me feel like parenting and, all the hard work towards her had finally paid off. I stopped worrying about her and trusted her that she would do good and give her everything that she asked for, including her own space, her own privacy, and I gave her all of the freedom, just trusting that she would not misuse it. But today, guys, today, I think she proved me wrong. During her entire graduation, she was always found partying or spending the night with friends. I waited for her results to get back to normal, but they just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and she ended up getting only a 2.0 GPA. I didn't really complain, however, because maybe I thought that she would get herself some placement or anything just to get into a career, but she was not herself. Well, some placement or anything, she was not even doing it. It's been more than a year since her pocket money and other demands merely kept growing. The financial freedom I've provided to Amy, to make her just feel constrained, is now being exploited just to show off with her friends. So many times her newly bought items just ended up going missing, and I would also just be angry that she gave them away to some friends because they, quote, needed them. Her handbags, her earrings, her dresses, her jackets, her shoes. Not only that, but her own dang laptop was given away to them. I mean, come on. And she would buy the most expensive version of those items currently on the market. It was meant for flaunting through my money. When I saw a few of her friends come to pick her up, they were a bunch of sick-looking girls, slightly drunk even, who told me that Amy was not picking her phone up. I saw her wearing the same dress that Amy had bought just a few weeks ago, but not only that, she even carried Amy's handbag. And when I inquired about both, she said that it was hers. And Amy owned it and, she just gave it to her because she befriended her. A few girls also turned up wearing random items from Amy that I could subtly recognize, saying that all her belongings were shared by them, and they replied that friends do share things, When I asked what they gave to Amy in return, they said the whole new world of experiences, and they giggled amongst themselves as some inside joke, just seeing that I wanted to shut the door in their faces, saying that Amy could not come since she was grounded for late-night evenings. Her friends mocked her behind her back, hearing that Amy was still grounded. Amy, who came downstairs to take her phone back, got embarrassed when her friends laughed at her before leaving and, just about being grounded. She said that she is an adult, and I could not ground her. In my justification, I said that in order to get such treatment, she should first learn to act like an adult. Well, she bangs on her room door and refuses to answer me or talk to me for a few days now. Gradually, she started coming out and acted somewhat normal. I stopped keeping an eye on her every time, and I thought maybe she had thought about her actions because her frequent visits and her friends did not seem to occur for approximately a week. I wanted Amy to focus on her career as well, but at least one thing has been improved in one sphere. Also, repeating the same thing over and over was also just making me annoyed, so I stopped pushing Amy, but I tried to always be available in case she needed my guidance. My routine was usual for every weekend and included a little more housework. Just a day or two ago, I did my laundry for formals with others, including Amy's, and I arranged the dried, clean clothes separately, and I called Amy. No answer. I went to knock on the door, but no answer. I could see the lights were on, and it was near midnight. When I rotated the knob, it moved, and the room was empty. She wasn't in the bathroom. I got anxious. I called her number, and it did not pick up, but she texted back before I could even ask where she was. She told me not to disturb her because she's studying for an interview test tomorrow. I said okay, but I had something else in mind. I've had enough. The next day at night, I kept my ears glued to her door, and when the sound stopped, I dialed her number. I could hear it ring, but from a certain distance, so I barged into her room and she was not inside. But I could see right through her window standing beneath, curious to know where she was going. I turned the car ignition on and saw Amy stepping into a car that came to pick her up. So I followed her until she stopped in front of a nightclub. Amy and her group were just standing in the waiting line to enter the nightclub, but I intervened. The shock was clearly visible right there, written in her eyes. I wish I could slap her, but I could not act like a madman in public. So, before she could process all this, I snatched her handbag, fished out the credit cards, the cash, whatever I could get my little hands on, and threw the empty bag at her face, saying, "Don't you come back home." I was furious yet satisfied, so I was able to sleep at night. But I knew this move of mine would not be enough. And neither is the solution to deal with her to strip her of all the assistance she was getting, and it's really late, and it's going to be an eventful day tomorrow. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next update. Till then, I have a great week ahead, but before that, please tell me how to deal with Amy. Your suggestions would be much appreciated. Update number 1. Hey guys. As you must have already predicted, things were going to be quite dramatic on this update. Well, they were, but I feel devastated right now, and I never wanted things to turn this ugly between me and Amy. When Amy returned that night, I was tired but could not sleep. I locked the door, but somewhere I was worried about her and whether she would be safe late at night, since I don't trust her friends at all. A little noise woke me up, as expected. Amy was trying to make her way in through the window, but I shut them. Furious, she starts kicking the door. It's 2 a.m. and her screams were echoing through the entire street, making it so embarrassing. So I had to open the door. She instantly turned furious at my sight and yelled at me between her tears, saying that I'm a horrible mother and that I constantly keep embarrassing her in public by turning up in a sleep robe and pajamas just to snatch her credit cards in the middle of the streets and announcing to her friends that her grown-up daughter is grounded like a 13-year-old teenager. I told her that she stopped behaving like a grown-up and explained to Amy that the idea was not meant to restrict her on her social life, but obviously just to infuse a bit of sense of discipline in her life by keeping her grounded late at night until early in the morning. I told her she was way more sincere and intelligent when she was just a child, and now, as a grown adult, she has made herself into, well, a loose woman who's not even capable of earning a single penny by herself but gets fooled by her friends who exploit her parents for money. In her defense, she tried to start speaking to me with slurs, yelling that I was a horrible mother, claiming that I was selfish because she knew I had no one except her to spend my money on. Well, I had no reply to the last statement of hers. I know that Amy's already aware of the fact that no one is there except her to claim my possessions, and she is the only heir after me, and there's no other siblings. So the idea of convincing her or making her understand her career and finances is just futile. Also, the way she was under the influence of those so-called friends, she would end up just getting exploited. And I have only one idea. Please guys, don't judge me. But it just came out of my mouth wishing that she was not my daughter. My intrusive thoughts won when I uttered that she was adopted. She gave me a questionable look, then she rolled her eyes and said that I must be drunk. She pushed me aside to make her way back to the house, but I did not let her in. I stood by my words, though they were complete white lies and neither she nor I was even taking it seriously. And to grab her attention, I tried to offer a deal to get that in order to live in the house. She has to contribute by paying her own bills if she wishes to share my house with me. And I warned her it's high time that she looked for herself and just helped me out by returning the favor of adopting her and the life that I gave her. I further added that she can go out, get a job for herself, or just spend her time depending on her choice, but she's supposed to be back until late evening. I somehow made Amy believe that she was actually adopted, and I could sense her hatred growing on me every single day. Maybe I've worsened things instead of making them right. Maybe I've shattered them. Well, Amy started packing her stuff, and Amy, who regarded me by mom, now called me out by name, and yeah, I can say that kind of hit me pretty hard. And she had sort of disrespected me with one statement, and it was this. "Congratulations, Maya. Now you have this entire house to your lonesome. I'm going back to Dad. You stay here and rot forever." I wanted to stop Amy at that exact moment, but I had lost my right to do so. I wanted to tell her that her dad hardly gave a damn about her, never gave me child support on time, and hardly visited her even on her birthdays. The only thing was that he had been so warm and kind to Amy that even though their interaction was limited, he had a few good memories with her. Unlike mine, who she had spent her entire life with without having a memory, were things seeming normal like everyone else. My bond with Amy, it wasn't typical, because I could not hold back my brutal words, and neither Amy could stop reacting. She's like me, only a lot worse. The tussle has remained forever, but it's never drifted me away like it did now. I felt helpless at that moment, seeing her leave my place. Update number 2. Hey guys, ever since Amy left, I thought it was the last update that, well, whatever happened, but now things have become interesting because Amy was hit by karma pretty bad. One day, while I was driving back home from the office, I decided to take a cup of coffee. I saw a familiar girl cleaning tables and carrying big glasses of coffee and trays of snacks to serve. When she turned around, though, I had already guessed it. I was still shocked to see Amy wearing a uniform and an apron. Along with taking an order from the customers, I've never seen Amy working in my life. No matter how many times I asked for help to clean the dishes or maybe just to boil the water, there must have been something major that led Amy into this. I got confused about whether it should be a big deal or I should just let her be, thinking that she's grown up enough to decide for herself. After all, I still feel terrible of those words before she left. Till then, the guy was about to announce my name, which was there written before on my coffee. So I silenced the guy and just took the coffee from him before leaving, and I just passed a tip on to Amy. And the same day I heard a knock on the door. It was Amy, right there, standing on my doorstep. She was in tears even though I was worried, but I did stay under control. She told me that Dad's got a new girlfriend, and she's closer to Amy's age, and resents Amy's presence in their house at all. Not only that, her father has grown so distant that he didn't even welcome Amy when she went to visit. He reluctantly gave her a place in his house, though. Within the first week of her stay, he demeaned her in front of his girlfriend by calling her out on her incapabilities and laziness. His newfound girlfriend, witnessing such a reaction from Amy's dad towards his daughter, gave her the license to embarrass her in front of everyone, be it her friends, guests, anyone. Amy was labeled as a parasite. Amy had no idea that her father was such a womanizer, and his unstable financial condition. She was feeling like a fool for assuming that she could stay at her father's house without paying for it. Until, well, that is, he asked Amy to pay for her share and contribute them to pay the bills, and after the completion of the first month of her stay, Amy requested her father give her some time, to pay up the money. Luckily, she was now given a chance by him to pay through installment plans after she began to earn a bit of money. Amy, who was already working at a coffee shop, was trying hard to get money through tips that she got. But even that's not enough because her father's girlfriend, who has no patience to tolerate Amy around her, is constantly nagging about the mounting bills and keeps reminding her father as well. For now, her dad is out of town, but Amy's running out of time and still her savings are not enough. Today, she was given an ultimatum that if she does not pay the bills, then the interest will be added to her installment if she keeps, getting it delayed. Looking at Amy's condition, I felt pity for her because her pale face, dark circles, etc., made it evident that life had taken a toll on her. I cannot decide if I should help Amy out with this or if I should leave her on her own. I just asked for some time and promised to contact her back after a few days. Please suggest what I'm supposed to do with Amy. It hurts to see things like this. Update number 3. Hey guys, I think I did the right thing by not letting Amy borrow my money, but I indirectly helped her out by regularly visiting the same coffee shop and occasionally bringing my guests or friends along just to tip her so that she does not give up on the hard work. I want her to believe that hard work pays off, and But so does karma as well, because she has exploited my generosity and freedom given to her. Recently, I went to the repair shop because I broke my phone. And again, this time I saw Amy trying to bargain with the guy about repairing a strained laptop. She was falling short on a few cents to pay him, otherwise he would not return it. So I tipped the cashier and pointed out to Amy that I was going to pay those few extra dollars on behalf of that girl. The cashier thanked me, and before I could warn him, he shouted across the shop about getting the rest of the payment for the laptop. Amy turned around and found me. I was embarrassed like I've been caught shoplifting, but here I was caught helping her out, which I definitely did not want her to see. "Amy," she greeted me. Instead of thanking me, she asked if I could drop her home. Without waiting for me, she reached for the car, opened up the gate and took her seat, and I kept standing, refusing to drive until she got out of the car. Well, she gets restless and starts requesting to be dropped off while her phone still did not stop ringing. Anxious, she picked up the phone, and I could hear the lady screaming from the car, calling her a leech and barking orders at Amy that she left without doing the laundry and dishes and not cleaning properly. She told her to be home at 4 p.m. sharp, as her guests would be arriving any minute. Amy apologizes for spilling coffee on her laptop and clarified that she just went to the shop to get her laptop repaired. Her father's girlfriend gave her an ultimatum, which was that this last time she got let go of her mistakes because there would be no last warnings in the future. Talking about how she reminded me that the payment is still overdue, I could not help but be curious to know what's going on, so I offered her a lift while she confessed. One day, Dad was annoyed at Amy not being able to pay her first month of payment while the second one began. He claimed Amy was useless in his house and tried to offer a deal to Amy that she could do the housework to get one half of the compensation and the rest that she could be paying through money. So, his new girlfriend, who already didn't like Amy around the house very much, tried to make things difficult with her for each passing day. Sometimes, she would burden her with house chores or call guests at home, creating a huge mess for Amy to deal with. She often complains that Amy's not doing her work properly, but I'd say the weirdest thing was that Amy asked me for the money. I made an excuse saying that I did not have enough to give it away, and Amy said that she would return it later. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but my gut was screaming otherwise, saying that she only promised to return it when I made an excuse. So before I make up my mind, I told her to wait for some time, and she didn't say anything, just left. But it did not take me long to arrive at the decision. Well, one single incident has made me realize that old habits that are still lurking within Amy, which made me feel that it would be futile to believe in Amy and that she would change for the better ever. No matter how much her life turns upside down, she will stay the same when it comes to me. Being her mom, I'm responsible for making her realize that karma is, well, you know what I mean. So before I could think to confront Amy by denying her the money and confessing to lying about her adoption, I saw Amy already waiting for me to open the door. She made her way inside my house even though I had not permitted her to do so. She's still behaving as such an entitled brat when it comes to me. I also instructed her to leave her shoes on the porch as it's been snowing, and I don't want her to create a puddle of water at the doorstep. But she didn't listen. Amy has not changed a bit when it comes to me, even though she's been doing terrible in life, getting humiliated by her dad's girlfriend, but she simply treats me like a doormat who's her own biological mom. She believes that she'll come crying and just get what she wants. So, the words still rang in my ear when she called by my name to rot alone. I told her without warning that I just lied about the adoption thing and she was never adopted, and I hate the fact that I am her bio mother. I don't want to regard Amy as my daughter because she's always taken me for granted. But not anymore. I don't want to be exploited by my own kid, whom I've raised with so much pain. She only used me to have her bratty lifestyle and refused to help out her own mother. Well, I didn't even expect that, but at least she could have tried to be independent enough to pay for herself and have some basic sense of respect. But Amy's reaction was quite unexpected. She gets mad, tries to actually choke me. So, when I pushed her away, she yelled that I was worse than her father's girlfriend who kept asking her for money to pay the bills. And the most shocking part was when Amy revealed that she already knew that she was never adopted. She's already asked father about it. Amy confessed that she hates me and part of herself for coming back here by compromising on her ego. She, could seek help only from me, but now she regrets that, and Amy was furious at me because just to make her earn some money, I end up lying to her about adoption? According to her, I'm not worthy of her respect. Even though her father was not nice, he still did not deserve to be with such a terrible person like me. So, I pushed Amy out the house, but she didn't stop yelling, so I banged the door in her face and she starts throwing stones at my window, which got cracked. Along with that, she began screaming slurs at me. It did not stop till I threatened to call the cops and nobody would come over to bail her out. Only then did her yelling stop. Since I knew Amy had nowhere to go but to go back to her dad's place, by the time she reached her place, I suggested Bart not bear this bratty girl at his place. She doesn't deserve it. He better throw her out of his life, and moreover, there's no way that he would get back his payment with interest because she has no savings. He didn't even disagree with that, and he did what I expected. Her father's girlfriend did not let Amy enter without paying her bill at once right then and there, and just like Amy's dad had already spoken to her, she threw her luggage right out of the house. Amy has no choice. She left home to get the required amount to pay them. Anyways, guys, thank you for being with me throughout this. I might end up doing something I hate, but now I have a peaceful life and no responsibility to parent someone. I bought a pet for myself, and that's enough to fill the void for me, guys. Anyways, I'll see ya. So, a lot of people in the comment section was feeling bad for Amy until about the end of the story when they realized she's just never going to change. She's a pretty toxic person and everything just has to go her way. Yeah, some people were saying that she was enabled for a long time and that's why she acts the way that she does. But I do want to know your thoughts, guys, your questions, your answers, your comments. Put them down below in our comment section downstairs. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories like this every day. And if you guys want to be a part of these daily animated stories, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, guys. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.